Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Michelle Morris with Consolidated Planning Group. Before I get started, I want to go over the housekeeping items, please. We are in webinar mode, which means that I cannot see you or hear you. So the best way, if you want to send a message or ask a question or leave a comment, just put that in the chat box, please. I've already put my contact information in the chat box, along with the link for a free consultation with Consolidated Planning Group. We're trying something new today, so you can go ahead and click that link at any time to schedule your free consultation with Consolidated Planning Group. We should be here for about an hour today, so go ahead and grab a drink and a snack. I can't see you anyway. And then later on today, you will receive a copy of these slides, which I'm going to go through. There are a ton of helpful links in today's presentation. So when you receive the slides, those links will all be clickable, and you'll be able to visit those, the information that I'm going to go over. The other thing, oh yes, I will also send you a link to our YouTube channel where this recording, along with all of our other webinars, will be living, and you can watch it later, or you can watch it again, or you can check out any of our other webinars. So again, I thank you for being here with me today for the next hour-ish. I welcome your questions and comments in the chat box, and I will go ahead and get started. We'll send you the link to this recording later on today. So Consolidated Planning Group, we are based just outside of Houston, and we serve families all across Texas and all across the United States. Today's webinar is going to focus mainly on Texas resources, but if you are in a different state and you're interested in working with us, or you're interested in learning about some of these resources in your area, you can feel free to just reach out and ask me for that, and I will help you out. Let me go ahead. It looks like we've got some spam in our chat, so I'm going to delete that. We will send you a copy of the recording, and we will send you the slides later on today, so we don't need a third party to do that for us. So anyway, when people come to us for special needs planning, we're talking about things like lifetime protection plans for your family through life insurance and disability protection. What happens if you become disabled and you can no longer take care of your loved one, or you can no longer work? We talk about lifetime care plans. You know, the cost of taking care of somebody with a disability or a difference or some kind of intellectual or developmental issue, the cost can be very high. And we help you examine what that cost is going to look like for your loved one, and how you can set aside enough money so that they will be taken care of once you're gone. That's what we're talking about when we say lifetime care planning. Transition planning, of course, you know, when your child turns 18, there's a lot that changes. You need to apply for SSI benefits and Medicaid. You need to be thinking about making sure that they're not working too much and earning over the substantial gainful amount to where they would lose those Medicaid and other benefits. And you need to make sure that they don't have more than $2,000 in a bank account that has their name on it. You need to think about things like, well, how can I save money for my loved one if we can't have more than $2,000 in his bank account? Well, you can have an ABLE account, which we can help you set up, or you can have a special needs trust, which you need an attorney for. But there are ways, and there are plenty of things that we do as financial advisors to help you figure out the money situation, right? So we are financial advisors that focus on helping families with special needs loved ones. We're here to advocate for people and educate people. I see there's a question in the chat box, why I can't see the link somebody put in the chat. I'm not sure which link you're talking about. I did delete the link to somebody saying that they were going to record this for us, because we go ahead and record that for our clients, and we will send that out to you later on today. Another thing that I want you to think about is the fact that it's very important to build a team of experts. We focus on the financial planning side and special needs planning, and there are fewer than 0.1% of the financial advisors in the United States who really focus on the nuances of special needs planning. There's over 263,000 financial advisors in the United States, and out of all of those 263,000, fewer than 200 focus on special needs planning. So you are definitely in the right place when you are talking to Consolidated Planning Group about planning for the financial future of your loved one. So we cover many, many different topics that are related to your family and planning for the future. And today our topic is college planning for special needs families. I hope that this will be a very useful webinar for you. Again, please feel free to put any questions or comments into the chat box. So the first thing I want to start off with is by reminding you that it is totally fine and totally acceptable for your child to have a non-traditional path in their life. I feel like these days, many more people are open-minded and able to consider different options for their loved ones, whether they have any kind of disability or not, because it's becoming more and more beneficial that we have kids going to trade schools, and it's becoming more widely accepted to have different paths, whether it be a four-year college or a trade school. Maybe a transition program or a certificate program would be better for your loved one. There are just so many options. We do not want you to compare your loved one to others, especially in this age of social media. Everybody posts the highlight reels of their lives on social media. I don't want to post a picture of myself on Facebook where I look like I just got dragged out of bed. I want to make sure I've got my face at the right angle, the double chins aren't showing, the makeup is looking good, the hair is on point. I don't want to post the everyday reality. I want to post to make myself and my family look good, right? So don't compare yourselves to others and to what they're posting or what their children are doing. Every child is different, and every child will come into their own at some point. No matter what that looks like, that is okay. Many people use an analogy of, if the flower doesn't bloom where it's planted. My favorite analogy to use, and you might have heard me say this if you've been on our webinars before, is I think of it as popcorn. Popcorn is my favorite snack. I love making popcorn on the stovetop, just like my grandpa taught me. And when you put the kernels in the pan, it's on the same burner, in the same pan, in the same oil, at the same temperature. But you know that when you make popcorn, those kernels don't all just pop all at the same time. You have some that pop early, and then they grow, and then a whole bunch of them pop kind of at the same time frame, but never all at once. And then it trails off, and then you have some that are popping as I'm trying to pour it into a bowl, flying all over my kitchen, which my dogs love, but I digress. Anyway, the point is that children are like popcorn. They're never all going to pop at the same time. And that is totally okay. And some kernels are going to make it into my bowl that haven't popped, and that's okay too. We don't get mad at the kernels for not popping. It is what it is. And you should heed that advice. So we talked about maybe a transition program or a trade school or community college would be better for your child than a traditional, I say with air quotes, 4-year college path. A university degree program is fine, but so is a certificate program. We're going into a career where you have to get a license. Maybe a reduced college course load would be good for your child. If you want to test the waters of going to college, maybe they could try 1 or 2 classes at a time. Or maybe they could live at home instead of living on campus so that they have that extra support at home. Maybe you want to you want to have a partnership with other organizations to help your child be able to have support on campus. And we'll talk about some of those. We will also, I'm seeing some things come into the chat box. Yes, we will talk about SSI benefits. And we will talk about students who might have different abilities but want to go to college and what options are available, what programs are available at different colleges for them. We're going to talk about that. There are great programs through the Texas Workforce Commission, through their VR vocational rehab program. And then, of course, you definitely want to consider your child's career path and possible work settings and what would be best for them. For example, if your child is one who really thrives in a quieter environment where they're more by themselves and, just doing their own thing, then working in a place that would have a loud environment where they have to multitask and have a lot of input and sensory overload, even if that's their job that they dream of having, you don't want to send them into a work environment that will not be conducive to their needs. So this page shows you some of the day and transition programs and other options for children beyond high school. Now, I spent a lot of time putting all of these links in here. I hope they all work and they all go to the right spot. But please, if you are going through these slides later on today and you click maybe My Possibilities, which is a great program out in Plano, maybe you click that and the link doesn't work. If you could please send me an email, and I'm going to put my personal work email address into the chat box so that you can email me if any of these links don't work and I can fix these slides. So these are some great programs that are available. The links are there for you. You will have this later on today. Again, we're mainly focusing on Texas today, but if you have questions about other states, feel free to reach out. We don't work for any of these programs and they don't work for us. So as we're going through these slides today and you see all the links, please understand that they're just programs that we've heard good things about. We've heard other people talking about. We've had clients who have experience with these programs. And we would love your feedback on some of these programs, just in case we need to fine tune our lists. Okay, so let's talk about the traits that students need to succeed. And these are, this is a survey that was done with children who have learning disabilities, but these are pretty universal things that your children need to know to be able to succeed in a college setting or in a post-high school setting. So let's get into this. First of all, self-awareness. It is really important that students show a bit of self-awareness. They want to be able to know their strengths and weaknesses, their areas where they might need a little bit more help, both academically and non-academically. And you might see this when maybe you're in the car on the way to a doctor's appointment with your child, and you ask your child, hey, When we go into the doctor's office, they often talk to me about what your diagnoses are. Would you be able to tell the doctor what your diagnoses are? Why don't we practice? Tell me what you've been diagnosed with and how those things affect your life. Let your child practice with you and with their doctor and with other family members and friends so that they understand what their own diagnoses are and they can explain those to people. That would come in really in handy when they get to college and maybe they're not standing next to you when they're trying to explain to somebody what their functional abilities are. Being proactive. Working with your child to be proactive and look for resources, look for chances that they will be able to succeed in, or look for areas on their own where they know that they might struggle going into this situation and be able to proactively find resources and ways to help themselves. This is something that you should be practicing through the high school years so that when they're ready to go out into the post-high school world, they can have an idea of their strengths, their weaknesses, and how to find help in navigating those. Perseverance is another really important thing for your child to master. They're not going to get everything the first time around. Nobody does. That's not specific to children who have specific learning disabilities or anything like that. That's everybody. And the more your child understands that they have to keep at something, they have to keep practicing and trying, even when they feel like it's difficult, even when they feel like they're up against a brick wall and they're never going to get it, they will. They just need to be they need to persevere in their quest for the knowledge and for this activity. And if they need help, well, you've taught them to be proactive. So it all works together, right? All of these things. Goal setting, helping your child understand goal setting before they go out into the real world. They need to know, how to set goals for themselves and reach those goals and chunk those things together and make smaller pieces out of big projects. Maybe look at calendar systems and planning so that they can get all of their homework done and make it to all of their classes. Set goals that are achievable. We always talk about SMART goals. You probably have heard of that acronym for your goals. They need to be achievable. You have to be able to track them. You have to be able to, gosh, I totally forgot what the SMART acronym is right now. I'm sure someone out there knows it. You can put it in the chat box for me. But make sure that they're setting goals for themselves. And again, practicing that before they get away from your teaching. Presence and use of effective social support systems. Your children need to know what support systems, social support systems are out there for them, and not just what they all are, but what are the effective social support systems. It's great to join clubs and organizations and get together with groups, but they have to also be effective. Maybe this is a group focused on a hobby. Well, that's great. Maybe this is a group focused on helping students with a specific disability. That's great. Maybe it's focused on band or sports or whatever. Those are great. Maybe it's a group of students who get together and they don't have very good social skills, or they have some destructive behaviors. Of course, you would want your child to look out for that and avoid those social systems, if at all possible. And then emotional coping strategies. Help your child develop some strategies for dealing with life when it gets difficult. It gets difficult for all of, thank you. There's those SMART goals in the chat box: specific, measurable, achievable, recordable, and trackable. Thank you so much for your help on that one. But the coping strategies, when things get tough, what does your child do to help get through those times? Going for a walk or a hike, or coloring. I have a coloring book and really fun colored pencils, like a big pack from Crayola with 100 different colors that I like to use when things get too stressful. Another thing that I do for an emotional coping strategy, there's a local bar here in Missouri City outside of Texas. Every month, once a week, they have puppy bingo, where they bring in puppies and they play bingo that supports this puppy rescue. No, you do not win a puppy to take home with you, but you get to cuddle the puppies while you play bingo. And that is a huge coping strategy for me, just holding all these puppies and relaxing for an evening once a week. I love that. So whatever coping strategies that your child can find, help them learn what it takes to get through those really stressful days. So I do see another comment in the chat. I need to give the social security number in order to get help from the vocational rehab program in the workforce. Maybe you do. Yeah, probably. The vocational rehab program is through the Texas Workforce Commission. And this is a program where they will help train and test students for the workforce. And we're going to talk a lot about that program in a little bit. So I'll get to that in a minute. Thank you for your comments, and also for remembering for me what the SMART acronym was. Okay, so there are accommodations and there are offices of disability on the college level. There are also accommodations once your child goes out into the workforce. So let's talk about some of these things and how that works. First of all, when you are looking at different universities and colleges for your student, we want you to reach out to the Office of Disability on that campus, get in touch with them and find out what programs they have in place that might be beneficial for your student. These offices are not all created equal. Some of them might have many people working in the Office of Disability, counselors, I would assume that they're called. And they might have really robust, great programs that are meant to provide support for your student. Maybe the Office of Disability is one person and they really don't have any programs in place, but they know that they have to have an Office of Disability, so they have one. Well, we want to make sure that the school that your child decides to go to has a good program in place of supports for your student. When it comes to taking the SAT and ACT at the end of or maybe at the end of the junior year or beginning of senior year in high school, what you need to know is that you can still have accommodations on those tests if you need them. You would contact the college board or whoever it is that is administering those exams, the ACT and SAT. Tell them your child needs accommodations, find out their rules and regulations ahead of time and get that set up. They might need to know what accommodations your child needs and why. They might want to see testing. So if you haven't done any testing on your child in the past, like 3 to 5 years on what resources they need, you might want to get that updated. You can also have accommodations for your AP exams, college courses, and even graduate courses later on in life. You just have to plan ahead and help your child reach out to those testing companies or to the college and get that stuff pre-approved and get it all in place. And if your child goes to like a community college or a tech school or something like that, they usually don't even require SAT and ACT scores. So you might be able to just skip that. A 504 and an IEP will not just automatically transfer over to higher education. So all of these supports that your child has had throughout their school career so far, it just doesn't automatically happen when they go to college. So you need to help them be proactive, self-advocate, and get those resources in place. Another thing that you need to think about when it comes to college is that the school doesn't want to talk to parents anymore. You might have to have forms in place like the FERPA, which will help the college understand that your student needs you and they need to have it in writing and agreed upon between you and the student that, yes, you can tell mom and dad about my attendance, my financial aid, my grades, things like that at the college level. You also want to have a healthcare power of attorney and a general power of attorney in place. Because if your child goes away to college, and they turn 18, and now they are an adult in the eyes of the law and they're out there in the wild. So if something happens and this person is an adult, there's no laws that the school or the hospital or the doctor's office has to talk to mom and dad anymore. And if you don't have these things in place, like a power of attorney or the FERPA form, HIPAA forms, things like that, if you don't have these things in place, you might not ever hear from your child's hospital if they have to go to the hospital. And you're going to be calling all throughout Austin trying to find out where your child went. And, the doctor's offices and the hospitals are like, well, we don't have permission to talk to you, so we can't help you. So get that stuff taken care of. Even if your child does not have a disability, these things are very helpful. Okay, let's see what I have in the chat box. They should get reevaluated sometime during high school. Question, question, question. Yeah, I mean, if your child doesn't have updated testing, here's an example. Get reevaluated during their senior year. It's good for 3 years. If you wait until after high school, you might have to pay for that evaluation. So go ahead and get it done. Anything where they offer free testing, me as a parent, I like to save money. So I would be all over that. Now, when it comes to work, they have to make reasonable accommodations in the workplace as long as it does not pose an undue hardship to the business. So for example, you can check the Department of Labor website and the Job Accommodation Network website. Those links are there on the bottom. But maybe a business needs to put in handrails or a ramp or something like that. Okay, you can ask for those kinds of accommodations. You can ask for them to provide listening devices or other reasonable accommodations and accessibility things. Can you make a workplace move to a new location because the office doesn't have elevators? No, you can't do that. Can you ask them that your office be moved to the first floor of their big building? Well, that might be reasonable. So just look through the Department of Labor websites and the job accommodation website and look at, what they mean by a reasonable accommodation to fit people in the workplace. Okay, so there are many college programs in Texas and of course all across the United States. And unfortunately, these are not links, but you can go to these college websites and look at their programs that they have. These are programs that are meant for students who have disabilities to go to the college and be there and have something that is meant for them. Again, we don't work for these colleges. They don't work for us. We don't get any kickback or referral fee. These are just programs that we are aware of at the various colleges throughout Texas. So if you're interested maybe in A&M, lots of people are interested in going to A&M, right? So they have several programs like Aggie Achieve and the PATHS program. Maybe Lone Star College and their Life Path program would be better. The University of Texas in Austin has E4 Texas. There's a lot of different programs that are at the colleges and meant to help guide students and mentor students and provide those supports. The TSIA, Texas Success Initiative Assessment. Maybe you've heard of this. There's a link there where you can go and get more information. But this is part of the Texas Success Initiative that was enacted by the Texas legislature, and it's designed to determine a student's readiness for college level coursework. They look at the general areas, reading, writing, math, and try to assess whether a student is ready to go off and take on college level coursework. So if you want more information on this assessment, the link is right there. What about if you want to look at out-of-state educational options? And I hope you do. I hope that you take all opportunities into account before making a decision on where your child should go after high school. There are so many great programs out there, and many people think that, oh, you know, an out-of-state school is just going to be too expensive. And of course, we want a public school, not private, because a private school is just so expensive. But what people don't often realize is that with scholarships, most of the time, many times, out-of-state and private schools can be just affordable as in-state public schools. And here's why. In-state public schools are much larger, and they have a lot of applicants, a lot of students. And they do have scholarships, but they have a lot more competition for those scholarships. When you look at a smaller private school, you're going to have smaller class sizes, fewer students, smaller campuses, and fewer students who are trying to get those scholarships. I found when back in the dinosaur ages, when I went to college, I went to a small private school in a different state from where I grew up, because it was largely funded by a philanthropic educational organization that helped provide scholarships to almost all of the students. So when I went away to college, I got to go to a small private school and I loved it. My son, when we were looking at colleges for my son, he applied to smaller private schools outside of the state of Texas and many schools in Texas. And he ended up in Chicago at Columbia College studying music on scholarships. And it ended up being just the same price as he would have paid at maybe UT or A&M. So think about that. This thinkcollege.net website will help you look at colleges all across the country. You can search online, filtering by what state they're in, how long their program is, what type of school it is, if it's a religious-based school, if there are options for living on campus, and all of that information you can search for on thinkcollege.net. So check that one out. Okay, I see you guys are conversing in the chat box, and that is fine, so I'm not going to get into it too much. Everybody can see your comments. So good. No questions from me. It doesn't really look like. So I will continue unless you guys need me in the chat box. One option that you have when you're thinking about trying to figure out which college might be a really good fit for your student. Jody Glau, she is an independent educational consultant. She owns a company. Oh, I see. Okay. Before I talk more about Jody, let's talk about TSI. The TSI assessment, I see this question, I'm sorry. Where can I submit the accommodations request to the TSI when trying to enter college? Okay, if you go back to this link that I shared right here for the TSI, you can look up the information about their programs. You can also talk to your high school about what you need to do to get accommodations for that assessment. Okay, so that link is right here. You'll be able to click on that when you get these pages later on today. Okay, back to Jody. So Jody, her company is called Custom College Consulting, and she specializes in working with students who have challenges as they are looking for the right fit in a post-secondary education. Her contact information is on the bottom of this page. Now, we have also done webinars with other college consultants. One is called the College Spy. They go out and tour college campuses and put together information for families on finding good college fits for their students. So feel free to go to our YouTube channel. Not right now, don't leave me, but later on, go to our YouTube channel and check out some of the other webinars that we've done with other college consultants as well, because there's several out there. There is a program or an organization called CLE, the College Living Experience. This is a program where they provide individualized guidance and instruction to your college kiddo that would help them with academics and career development, independent living skills, and social development. Now, they can work with students at any college. They have opportunities working in person on the college campus. And if they can't do that, then they can meet virtually with your student and provide them with help to navigate what their world looks like right now. So you can click on experiencecle.com. You can call them. They do virtual open houses, and you can get more information from them on this page. Bloom Consulting. They're another firm that we've heard does great things with a program called Campus Connections. Campus Connections is a program that is designed to support your student with either virtual or in-person support when they attend the post-secondary institution of their choice. So again, this can be at any college campus, either online or in person. They use an assessment called the Berkman Method Assessment, and they do wraparound planning where they really look at putting together a support team for your child that is going to work with their individualized needs and goals. They pair your student with a connections coach. They provide mentoring, guidance, and navigational support. That it really empowers the students to help problem solve on their own, to be more effective and efficient when it comes to making choices, good choices, and advocating for themselves. They really help with those 6 traits that we talked about at the beginning of this webinar in terms of being good advocates for themselves, being proactive, persevering in getting their goals and dreams, setting goals and things like that. Now, this program does have a cost of about $1,000 a month, last time we checked, and it is usually private pay. If you work with the VR program through the Texas Workforce Commission, and they determine that you need help like this, they could help provide sponsorship to pay for this program. So when you work with Texas Workforce Commission, definitely ask if they can help you pay for this. And again, just like all of these other programs, the contact info is there on the page for you, and you can reach out directly to them with any questions you have about their services. Okay, so I've been mentioning Workforce Solutions and their program and how they help students prepare for the future. So, Workforce Solutions, they offer scholarships that support training, and they really help students understand, what areas they might be interested in working in. They look at what are some high skill, high growth areas that your student can get into, and what training can we give them that will help them determine what they want to study, how they can pay for it, where they might be able to go for assistance, what are the impediments to being able to keep a job, and what training can you get to be able to overcome those obstacles. It is really important that you speak with the Workforce Solutions people. They have liaisons in your high school that you can speak to, or you can go online. There's a link here. There's a link here. There's several links on the next page to get you in touch with the Texas Workforce Solutions people. They can help, like I said, choosing a good career. What industries and occupations are growing and hiring? What's hot right now? And we want an adequate employment opportunity that is going to be challenging, not just sitting there pushing a button all day, but something that will be rewarding and challenging for your child. They look at what is in demand right now. They provide information on different career paths, what the salaries might be, what job openings are projected, things like that. How is the industry growing? What are the education and training requirements for that job? And it really helps you make an informed decision to prepare your child for success. They do something called pre-employment transition services. Sometimes this is referred to as pre-ETS. They have a summer earn and learn program. They really work with students starting as young as 14 years old and about to age 22 in helping them really think about what educational settings are good for them, what they need, what work-based learning programs are available. They help students find employers who are willing to do these work-based trainings, and they help you become a team player, a problem solver, use your time and your money efficiently and effectively. All of these kinds of things, how to use transportation to get to work, how to understand your rights in the workplace and stand up for yourself if those rights are not being adhered to. So much helpful information for your student. Now, this is, you might see at the end of the link here that it says twc.texas.gov, or it says twc.state.texas. This is a government program. They might be backed up, but keep on it. Keep asking that transition services coordinator at your high school about this program, because once you get in, it is so good and it's worth it. Even if you have to be the squeaky wheel a little bit to get your student enrolled in this program. Okay, so what about funding? We're going to shift a little bit here and talk about how are you going to pay for college? Well, first of all, you want to make sure you fill out the FAFSA. It is available every year. Well, this past year, we saw some major changes with the FAFSA. And even though we used to always fill it out on October 1st, this past year was quite different. It wasn't supposed to be available until December, and then there were some major hiccups with the FAFSA. But what we want to tell you is make sure that you fill out the FAFSA if you can each year. Even if you think you make too much money, you want to apply, because colleges use the information that you put on this free application for federal student aid. That's what FAFSA stands for. Colleges use that information for scholarships and other supports and services for your student. There might be merit aid, there might be scholarships, but you have to fill out the FAFSA to be able to get information about that stuff. So even if you think, oh, there's no way we're going to get federal funding for college, fill out the FAFSA if you can and when the FAFSA website is working. There are community-based scholarships, school-based scholarships, merit aid, disability-based scholarships. You might be able to find something for your child's specific sport or hobby or band, musical instrument, whatever. Just keep looking. I recommend that you don't waste too much time on small scholarships. $100 here, $500 there. It might not really be worth your time, but big scholarships definitely are. Maybe you need to keep a spreadsheet to keep track of what scholarships you have requested. Have you applied on time? What are their deadlines? All of the criteria for scholarships and the requirements, they're all different. And the deadlines are all different. So keep track of yourself and what you're doing, but apply for those big scholarships if you can. Maybe you have your student write 2 or 3 essays over the summer, tweak them and work on them, and then use those 2 or 3 essays with minor changes to apply for all of these scholarships. Have them do the work, preload all of that, and then get out there. A 529 college savings plan you can use to help fund your child's education. Now, a 529 college savings plan is only able to be used on educational expenses. So be careful. If your child might not go to college or might try it and decide it's not for them, you might want to consider an ABLE account instead. An ABLE account is a different section of 529 tax code. 529C is for the college savings plan. 529A is for the ABLE account. The main difference is that the ABLE account is for children who have a disability that began before they were 26 years old. So as long as your loved one has a disability that started before age 26, they can have an ABLE account. And you can use the ABLE account for anything that your child needs. As a matter of fact, ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. So anything that will help your child achieve a better life experience, you can use that ABLE account for. And again, vocational rehab, we can't say that enough time. They're going to help. I have a question in the chat box we'll answer real quick. A standard 529C college savings plan can be switched to your other children. Yes. If you have other children, you can roll over your 529C to those other children very easily. You can also, if you've already started a 529 college savings plan for your child who has a disability, you can switch that over from a 529C to an ABLE account. It's easy, but remember, once it's in the ABLE account, it would have to go to another child with a disability. Okay, so once you have it in an ABLE, it needs to stay as an ABLE. I just realized that it's 12:51. I need to get going a little quicker. So the next, I think, 5 pages are going to go super fast because it's a huge list of scholarships that we have gathered for you. The first thing you need to know that if your child happens to be adopted through the state, or if they were in the foster care system, there are special opportunities for them to be able to waive off the cost of college tuition. So definitely check this first link if your child is adopted or was in foster care. You should also ask your student's child life specialist at whatever clinic you go to or hospital system, Memorial Hermann, Baylor College of Medicine, Texas Children. They all keep lists of scholarships too. This page shows some good scholarship searches that you can go through. You can put in your search criteria and search for scholarships. Again, there are a lot of links on these next 5 pages. If they don't work, please let me know. I would like to highlight the Terry Foundation Scholarship. This is available at the list of colleges you see here. A&M, UT Austin, University of Houston, all of those colleges offer the Terry Scholarship. This is a full ride. It pays room and board and tuition, pays for everything for your student. They're really heavy on volunteer work. So if you can get your student involved in some good, meaningful volunteer work throughout their life, this is a great scholarship to apply for. If you can apply for this scholarship at all of the schools, you can apply to all of those colleges. And then let's say your child gets into Texas Tech and they get the Terry Scholarship, but they really wanted to go to A&M. What you would do is go to Texas Tech for 1 year and then transfer to A&M, and you can still use your Terry Foundation scholarship for a full ride. And it's easier to transfer to a school and be accepted. So that's an option, but they're really looking for leadership, potential, and character, financial need, a good scholastic record, and they want people who are leaders in the community, and they've got a well-rounded personality and some grit. And not only do they get a full ride to college, they also get ongoing success support, mentorship, alumni networking, and service opportunities. So check into this scholarship. So here we go, starting here. So many scholarships based on different things. You can click all of these links. Like I said, please email me if these links don't work because I want to be able to fix this. My email address is in the chat box. So there's everything from epilepsy, cystic fibrosis, deaf and hard of hearing scholarships, hemophilia, MS, allergies, learning disabilities, cognitive disabilities. There are specific scholarships for physical disabilities, wheelchair scholarships, rent-a-knee walker scholarships. Please take your time and go through these and get on the lists or apply for these scholarships as you can. Here's my email address again if any of these scholarship links don't work. There's the National Federation for the Blind. There's health products scholarships. There's even funny, crazy scholarships out there. Like, have you heard of the one where if you make a prom dress and tuxedo out of duct tape, you can get a big scholarship from 3M, and they just need you to make an outfit out of duct tape. There's all kinds of crazy things out there. There's even scholarships for siblings of children with special needs. So please check all of that out. These 3 books you might want to consider to help you determine what schools to look at for your loved one. I'll say again and put in another plug for out-of-state private schools. You know, it's not as expensive and as out of reach as you think it might be. I'm putting my contact info in the chat box again, just to make sure everybody has it. These are some other things that we do webinars about as a company. We do these 2-3 times a week. Special needs planning. And I did say that I would talk about SSI a little bit. So what I want to say, if you have specific questions, please schedule a meeting with us. We will walk through your specific questions and how to apply. We're going to reach out to you and try to get you to schedule an appointment with us. So you might as well just do it anyway, right? You can use this QR code to schedule. If that's not your style, you can call the office or email. SSI is a benefit for your child that typically starts when they are 18 years old, because when your child is a minor, they probably won't qualify for SSI benefits because of the income and asset limits. When your child is a minor, they're going to look at your income, and if you are making more than $1,550 a month, you don't qualify. They're going to look at your assets, and if you have more than $2,000 or $3,000 in the bank, depending on your circumstances, you won't qualify. So when your child turns 18, all of a sudden they start looking at your child's income and assets. So as long as your child doesn't have more than $2,000 and is not making more than $1,550 a month, they should be able to qualify for SSI benefits, as long as the Social Security Administration deems them as disabled. So you're going to go online and apply. Go to the Social Security website and look up SSI application and get your application started on the day after your child turns 18. It can be a long process and it can take several months, but if you start the application right when your child turns 18, they will backdate your application to that day and they will back pay you. The total amount that your child can get right now for SSI is $943 a month. So if your child is not getting $943 a month, you can reach out to us and we can help you explore what the reason might be, why they're not getting that. It could be maybe they're working. It could be maybe you need to send in an additional form, things like that. But yeah, when your child turns 18, apply for SSI. Later in life, they'll get SSDI. SSI comes with Medicaid, and later SSDI comes with Medicare, and we can help walk you through all of those things. And any other questions that you have about the waiver programs, ABLE accounts, special needs trusts, how to save money for them, how much money do you need to save for them, how do you get through your retirement and leave enough money to have your child taken care of. We talk about all of these kinds of things, and we are truly here to help. Your free personalized consultation will be over Zoom. It usually takes between 30 to 45 minutes, and we want to answer your questions first. You know, make sure that your specific needs are addressed, and then we'll talk about how we can help you, what our different planning options are, how we work as a firm, and what we charge. And if you're interested in moving forward from there, we can. If you're not interested, just let us down gently. That's all I ask. I'm just kidding. You can also follow us on Facebook. Our Instagram link is down there. This link with the white arrow will take you to our YouTube channel so you can see all of our webinars. And we also have a podcast. We just hit 100 episodes on our podcast. So go feel free to check all of those things out. I hope that I hear from you soon at your free personalized consultation. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me directly or contact our office. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope that you have a fantastic day. I thank you for spending the past hour with me, and have a great day. Bye-bye.